Welcome back to the channel, guys. In this video I will be covering the top tips that you can follow to get 800 plus in the decision making section of the UCAT. Alright, so my first top tip is do not generalize from a sample. You cannot do that. For example, in the example provided, we're being told that a survey was performed in America in 2017 in which a large group of children were asked to select their favorite food. And we've been given the results here in a pie chart, the question is asking which of the following can be concluded from the data. The first option states that out of these choices 10% of American. So as soon as I see this, I know this can't be the correct option, even if this result shows that 10% of the children have that favorite food. It won't be true because it generalizes it for the whole America, whereas we have only got a sample. So this cannot be true. And if we look at the second option, it states overall children prefer less healthy foods. Well, we do not know which is healthy food and which is not healthy. So we cannot state anything from there. And the third option states that the majority of children in America like chocolate. Again, it generalizes for the whole of America. We do not know for sure that majority of children in America like chocolate because it's generalizing for the whole population, and this can't be a certain fact from a sample. Therefore, fourth option would be correct because it states that fewer of these children is referring to the children in the sample, in the survey. So even though without reading this, I would know that this would be the correct option, and it is the correct option after I've looked at the data. So again, there's another example there, and the example states that Jeremy is a biologist that traveled to Borneo to survey the local plant life. He found that 14 out of every 20 plants he surveyed had orange flowers. And he reported stating that 70% of the plants have orange flowers. So as soon as I see this, I know that this is no. So I can ignore yes, and I can move on to no. And then no, the first option states that no, as his sample selection was biased. Well, I don't think it's biased, and I've not been given any information on why it's biased or not. But the fourth option, it states no, as he's making a wide generalization based on a small sample, and this would make it the correct option. So don't generalize from a sample. So moving on to the type of questions where you might be asked to choose a shape which will complete the equation. A lot of people do not know how to approach these questions. Because they're a new addition to the UCAT. But what the best way is to approach them is to assign values to each shape. So what I would do is I would look at a shape which has only two shapes. For example, this only has triangle and a square. I know that 3 squares are equal to a triangle, so I can just say that 1 square is 1 point, and then I can say that would make triangle 3 points. Then I can look at another shape which can be used to find value of another shape. For example, I can look at a circle. In this shape, I know there is a circle, triangle, and a square. So I can do triangle minus square, which will be 6 minus 1, 5. That would make square 5. And then finally, looking at the rectangle, I can say rectangle is equal to circle plus the square, so that would be 5 plus 1, so a rectangle would be 6. And so which equation would make the last equation true? Which shape would make the last equation true? I know there's a circle that is 10 points. Then there's 3 triangles plus something, so I know 3 triangles is 9 points. And 10 minus 9 is 1, so therefore square is the right answer. Right, so looking at the question on the screen, and these kind of questions where you are presented with 2 factors and you have to consider both of them and choose which option would be the better one. These kind of questions appear towards the end of the test, the decision-making subsets, and the key tip that I would give for this type of question is that one factor is equal for both out of the two factors. So if we look at this example, we're comparing hospital A and hospital B. We know they have equal number of X-ray machines, and it says each day 2% of the machines are unusable in hospital A, and 75% of the machines are usable in hospital B. And then if we look at the other factor, it says the chance that a usable machine will break down on any given day is 1 in 10 for hospital A and 2 in 20 in hospital B. So by just looking at the factor, I know that 1 in 10 in hospital A is equal to 2 in 20 in hospital B. So from looking at this, I know they will have an equal chance of breaking down. So it won't be the fact one is more likely to break down the other one that will give us the correct answer. So I can rule this one out, and I can look at the other option, which will be if they're unusable, if they're usable. So I know each day 2% of the machines are unusable in hospital A, so that means there's 98% which will be usable, and 75% are usable in hospital B. So the correct option would be hospital A is the correct one. But looking at the question, says that is hospital B the better choice for an X-ray, and then we can just rule out yes because they're not. No would be the correct answer. Looking at the first no option, it says both hospitals have the same chance of machine breakdowns. Yes, we know that. And the same number of usable machines. No, they do not have the same number of usable machines. And this would automatically make D the correct answer. But just looking at the option, it says no, both hospitals have the same chance of machine breakdown, but hospital B has fewer usable machines. And therefore, this is the correct answer. And again, another example. In this example, we're told we're comparing two types of medicines, morphine or oxypyrin, for severe trauma. And it says, however, morphine has a 75% chance of inducing addiction in patients, whereas 900 out of every 1200 patients that take oxypyrin become addicted. So if you're good with your numbers, you would already know that this equates to 75%. You can quickly do that in your calculator, but this is what it equates to. And then you know that this would be the same, so you can just focus on the other one. And the other option states that morphine is effective in 160 out of every 200 cases, and this would make it 80 in every 100, and oxypyrin is only effective in 70 out of 100. So therefore morphine is more effective. Therefore the correct option would be that yes, morphine has a higher chance of being effective than oxypyrin does. So make sure that you look out for the option that will be the same, because it will allow you to work out faster which option will be different, and then you can focus on that. Okay, so another key tip that you should have in mind is that probabilities aren't affected by previous outcomes. So in this example, we've been told that Jeremy has been rotating arrow, which when spun will end up pointing in the north, south, east or west direction. And the arrow is weighed such that the probability that it points towards the east is 1/3. So for every 3 spins, it will point in the east direction. So it states that Jeremy spins the arrow 15 times and it lands in the east position 5 times. And the question says that the probability that it points towards the east on the 16th spin will be less than 1/3. So what you should keep in mind when answering this question again is that probabilities aren't affected by previous outcomes. It doesn't matter what the previous outcomes have been indicating, it's just the overall outcome that that will get you the answer. So for example, looking at the first option, it says yes, the arrow should land on the east position 1 in every 3 times. 1 in every 3 times means it's bang on 1/3. It's not less than 1/3. So this is not the correct option. Then the second option states that yes, as it has already landed in the east position 5 times, so it is less likely to land in that position again. So this is the rule that you should be using, because the previous outcomes have no influence on the next spin that Jeremy is about to do. So this is the wrong option. Then moving on to the third option, it states no, as the previous spins will not affect the outcome of the 16th spin. And this should be the correct answer, as stated in there. So previous outcomes have no influence, no effect on the probabilities. Just keep that in mind. Another key rule is that whoever goes first has a higher chance of winning. So for example, in this example, it states that X and Y play a game by taking turns to throw a biased 6-sided die. On a biased die, these some numbers are more likely to be rolled than others, and the first person to throw a 6 wins. So we know that it's biased, but we don't know how much it's biased by, and we've been told that X throws first. And it says X and Y have an equal chance of winning no matter how biased the die. And answering that question, you should have in mind that whoever goes first has a higher chance of winning. So the question states that they have an equal chance of winning. So the yes answers can't be correct. You can rule them out straight away, because you know the winner is more likely to be the person that throws first. And then moving on to C, it states no, X has a better chance of winning, as he has to fail on his turn in order for Y to have a chance of winning. And that is the correct option, because Y only goes after X goes. So X has to get something else rather than 6 for Y to have a go. So therefore X has a higher chance of winning the game. Alright, so my next tip is that draw the shape how it's been mentioned in the question. So if it states that people are arranged in a pentagon, then draw a pentagon in your whiteboard, not a rectangle. So for example, in this example, it states a group of participants in a yoga group are standing in a circle. So that's a key information. I know that they're arranged in a circle and not any other shape. And it states, and there are 6 people in total: Sam, Zara, Jonas, Cassidy, Javier, Jesse, and we've been told information on how they're arranged. So what I would do is I would draw a most basic circle. I would draw dots, 6 dots, because there's 6 people, and this would help me to picture how they've been arranged. If I drew a rectangle, I wouldn't be able to know where everyone is located, exactly where everyone's located. So I should be drawing a circle, basically. So in the first statement, we've been told that Jonas is linked to Cassidy via his right arm, and Sam via his left arm. Jesse is directly opposite Cassidy in the circle. Zara is not linked to Jesse by either arm. So, and then it states that everyone is facing into the middle. So I know that everyone is facing into the middle, not the other way around. So everyone's facing into the middle. And the statements are given from this perspective. So each member is linked to 2 members only, one on either side. The link is made through crossed arms, such that if person B is on the person's right hand side, this will be made through person A's left arm. So, and the question is asking which people are linked to Xavier's left and right arm. So reading these questions, I only need to know about Xavier's left and right. So starting off this question, so I can use the information that's been provided in there. So I know that Jonas is linked to Cassidy via his right arm. So if I just pick a location for Jonas, starting off, I say Jonas is at the top, and is linked to Cassidy via his right arm. So we're imagining that they're facing towards the middle. So Cassidy is linked to Cassidy via his right arm. So that would be on Jonas's right, facing middle. So that would be Cassidy. It means Cassidy would be there. And then Sam via his left arm, so Sam would be there. And then the next statement states that Jesse is directly opposite Cassidy in the circle. So we know Cassidy is there. So Jesse is directly opposite, and in a circle this would be that. So I can say that, oh, Jesse is located there. So because Jesse and Jonas have the same first letter, so I can just say Jess, I can say John, just to make sure that I don't get mixed up. And then we've been told that Zara is not linked to Jesse by either arm. So we know Zara should be in either this place or this place. And we've been told that she's not linked to Jesse by either arm. So we know that Zara can't be there. She must be there. So Zara is there. And therefore the only person left is Xavier. So Xavier would go there. Alright, so from this I know that Jesse was in Xavier's right and Zara is on his left. So this would make the first option the correct option. So make sure that you draw the shape how it's mentioned in the question, and not do another shape to simplify it for yourself, but which can actually make it harder to do the question.